The history of the United States spans from the first human migration to the Americas thousands of years ago to its emergence as a global superpower in the 20th century. Significant events include the establishment of European colonies, the American Revolution, the Civil War, and its engagement in both world wars. Pre-Columbian era and European contact. Early migration. The first people arrived in North America from Eurasia by crossing the Bering Land Bridge during the Ice Age. These early inhabitants, or Paleo-Americans, spread across the continent and developed distinct cultures, developed societies. By the time Europeans arrived, North America was home to numerous sophisticated Native American nations. The Mississippian culture, known for building large earthwork mounds, flourished in the Mississippi River Valley. Initial contact. European colonization began after Christopher Columbus's arrival in 1492. Other European powers, including the Spanish, French, and English, followed, establishing colonies and trading posts. Colonial America and the Revolution, 1607 to 1783. English settlement. The first permanent English settlement was Jamestown, established in 1607. By the 18th century, 13 English colonies were growing rapidly along the Atlantic coast. Growing tensions, political and economic tensions with Great Britain increased in the mid-1700s, primarily over the issue of taxation without representation. Events like the Boston Tea Party in 1773 and the Boston Massacre in 1770 were key flashpoints. Road to war. Armed conflict began with the battles of Lexington and Concord in April 1775. The Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, proclaiming the colony's separation from Britain. Securing independence, with crucial aid from France, the Continental Army defeated the British. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 officially recognized the United States as an independent country. The new nation and westward expansion, 1783 to 1860, creating a government. The first government under the Articles of Confederation proved to be too weak. A new constitution was drafted in 1787 and ratified in 1789, establishing a stronger federal government. George Washington became the first president. Territorial growth. The U.S. dramatically expanded its territory, most notably through the Louisiana Purchase from France in 1803, which nearly doubled the country's size. Expansion continued westward through annexation and war with Mexico. Divisions over slavery. As the nation expanded, a fundamental and uncompromising difference emerged between the northern and southern states over the issue of slavery, particularly its expansion into new territories. The Civil War and Reconstruction, 1861 to 1877. The conflict begins. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, who was opposed to the expansion of slavery, led 7 southern states to secede and form the Confederate States of America. The war began when Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861, the turning point. Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, declaring enslaved people in Confederate territory to be free and giving the Union a moral cause. Union victory and abolition. The war ended with a Union victory in 1865. Later that year, the 13th Amendment was ratified, formally abolishing slavery throughout the nation. Aftermath and lasting divisions. The Reconstruction era followed the war, attempting to rebuild the South and integrate formerly enslaved people into society. However, this period left a legacy of deep-seated racial tensions that would continue for generations. The 20th century, Progressive era, 1900 to 1920s. This period saw significant social and political reform, addressing issues from rapid industrialization and urbanization. Efforts included breaking up monopolies, improving working conditions, and securing women's suffrage. World War I, 1914 to 1918. The U.S. initially remained neutral but entered the war in 1917, helping to secure an Allied victory. The experience cemented a new global perspective and influence. Great Depression and World War II. The stock market crash of 1929 triggered the Great Depression, a decade-long economic crisis. The U.S. ended World War II after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. The war effort ended the Depression and solidified the country's position as a global superpower. The Cold War, 1945 to 1991. After World War II, the U.S. entered into a prolonged military and political rivalry with the Soviet Union. This era was marked by the nuclear arms race and proxy conflicts. Civil rights movement, 1950s-1960s. This era saw significant challenges to racial inequality, with leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. advocating for legislative and social change. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were landmark achievements. The 21st century, September 11, 2001, the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon triggered the War on Terror, leading to military interventions in Afghanistan and Iraq. Political and economic challenges. The early 21st century has seen political shifts, economic challenges, technological changes, and evolving social dynamics, continuing the nation's complex historical journey.